It all started at Ada's wedding. She was my childhood friend, and I couldn't miss the big day for anything. The hall was packed, full of laughter, music, and the smell of jollof rice and small chops. Everyone was happy, dancing and celebrating the union. I was there in my lace asoebi, mingling with the crowd when I noticed him. He was tall, dark, and undeniably handsome. Hey, fine man, wearing a sharp suit that made him stand out. At first, I thought he was one of those guys who knew they were fine, so I ignored him. But then, during the couple's dance, he walked up to me and introduced himself. Hi, I'm Emmanuel, and you are? Franca, I said, a bit shy but curious. We talked for a few minutes and there was something about him. He was so calm, confident, and polite. Before I knew it, the night was over. We didn't exchange numbers, but something told me that wasn't the end. A few days later, I got a message from someone. And guess what, guys? He found me on Instagram and sent me a message. From there, we started chatting. It wasn't like those dry conversations where you struggle to keep things going. This one flowed naturally. We talked about everything, every single thing. Work, life, dreams, everything. I told my friend Ada about him and she was so happy. Franca, this might be your own wedding we're talking about, though. She teased. 2 months later, Emmanuel asked me to be his girlfriend. Jesus Christ, my heart skipped. Even though we hadn't seen each other since the wedding, I had already caught feelings for him, honestly. He was sweet, consistent, and respectful. He was so sweet. What else could a girl ask for? I said yes. I said yes. Again, I told Ada about it that same day. And she acted happy for me, or so I thought. This is good news though, she said. But there was something off about the way she said it. Though I didn't really think much of it at that time. The only issue with Emmanuel was how busy he was. He worked for a big company. Doing what exactly? I don't even know. I wasn't sure. Anytime I tried to ask, he brushed it off saying it's just work, don't worry about it. Despite his busy schedule, he was still so attentive. He would call and check up on me every single day. And sometimes it felt like I was the only thing on his mind. One day he called with exciting news. Babe, I took a week off work. I want us to spend time together, he said. I was thrilled. I was marveled. Like I was so happy. He made plans and I went to his house. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw. Guys, Jehovah, the house was huge. A duplex in one of those big gated estates you only see in Hollywood films. It was tastefully furnished with marble floors, massive chandeliers, and a smell that screamed luxury. Welcome to my little space, he joked, but there was nothing little about it. During that week, Emmanuel treated me like a queen. We went to fancy restaurants and he bought me gifts. God, he listened. He listened whenever I spoke. He made me feel special in a way that I hadn't felt before. When that week ended, I returned home on cloud 9. I couldn't wait to tell Ada everything. As I narrated how Emmanuel had treated me and even mentioned how rich he was, her mood shifted. Franca, you need to be careful, oh, she said sharply. Careful about what? I asked, confused. These rich men, she began. You don't know what they are into, and you don't know they're capable of doing. Some of them are ritualists. Others don't even respect women. Are you even sure you know what he does for a living? You better be careful before you find yourself in trouble. I blinked, trying to process her words. Ada, what are you saying? What are you even saying? Manu is a good man. He's kind, he respects me, and he makes me happy. And if he doesn't treat me right, I'll move on to the next man. It's not that big of a deal. Franca, I'm just saying, you don't know him. You don't know him well enough. Break up with him now before it's too late. Break up with him before it's too late, she insisted. Me? Break up with who? I didn't even know what to say. Part of me thought that was just looking out for me, but another part couldn't shake off the suspicion that something was going on. Yes. Why was she so against Emmanuel all of a sudden? I told her I would think about it, but me, deep down, I knew I wouldn't leave Emmanuel for anything in the world. I'd already fallen for him. Still, Ada's words lingered in my mind. Was she genuinely concerned? Or was there something she wasn't telling me? She was my childhood friend. And not that she was married. I assumed she was simply busy with her new life or probably very stressed and all. Besides, Emmanuel didn't even know her. He had only attended the wedding as a plus one to a mutual friend. Every time I tried to set up a meeting between them, she always found a way to dodge it. Ada is either mopping the ocean or walking her fish. Sometimes I just laugh at her ridiculous excuses, but couldn't help wondering what the real issue was. Why was she so determined to avoid meeting my boyfriend? One weekend, I went to Emmanuel's house as usual. We were sitting in the living room when he got a notification on his phone. He glanced at it and let out an irritated hiss. What's wrong? I asked, curious. Is this lady who wouldn't stop disturbing me, he said, shaking his head. What lady? He hesitated for a moment before explaining. She claims she dialed my number by mistake, but hasn't stopped calling and texting. She keeps saying she wants us to meet up and get to know me, even though I've told her I have a girlfriend. She's insisting that as long as I'm not married, I'm still single. I frowned. Let me see. He handed me his phone and my heart sank when I saw the chat. The number wasn't saved, but the messages were clear. To my utter shock, it was Ada's number. Yes, my Ada, my very own Ada. The same Ada who had been warning me about Emmanuel and rich men. The same Ada who pretended to be concerned about my safety. There in black and white were her messages. I know you said you have a girlfriend, but I don't care. I never felt this way before. Just give me a chance, Emmanuel. I can make you happy. I could feel my blood boiling as I scrolled through the texts. Emmanuel hadn't replied to her recent messages, but the audacity. I looked up at him and he just shrugged. I didn't want to upset you, so I ignored her, he said calmly. I didn't even save her number. She doesn't matter to me. But to me, it mattered. It mattered a lot. I took his phone, snapped screenshots of the entire conversation, and sent them to Ada without saying a word. Then, with my hands still trembling, I sent the screenshot to her husband. In less than 5 minutes, Ada called me. Her voice was shaking, almost pleading. Franca, please, I can explain, she started. Explain what, Ada? Explain what? I snapped. That you've been trying to destroy my relationship while pretending to care? That you are married but still chasing my boyfriend? What's there to explain? She stammered, but I hung up before she could say more. Her husband called next, but I didn't pick up. I didn't want to be dragged into their marital issues, but I had done what I needed to do. I sat back and tried to calm down. It all made sense now. Her strange excuses, her constant warnings, and her refusal to meet Emmanuel. All this time, Ada had been trying to sabotage my relationship because she wanted what I had. Later that night, Emmanuel held me close and reassured me, you don't need friends like Ada. Franca, I've got you and I'm not going anywhere. And just like that, Ada was out of my life for good. Since Ada was married, she would have been able to cope with me having a boyfriend. But she didn't like that my boyfriend was richer than her husband and could offer me a life she secretly envied. She wanted what I had, and she was willing to betray our friendship to get it. Some friendship aren't worth saving, especially when betrayal is involved. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.